Hey, are you ready to go yet?
どうすればいいんですか？明日も頑張れさ。
Hey man, let's get going.
Hey, did your cat just talk?
Oh yeah, I taught it to talk like Retsuko from Aggretsuko for a future skit I'm planning.
Well, first of all, Retsuko's a red panda, not a cat. So, I mean...
What?
Yeah, I mean...
It's not like a Hello Kitty thing?
No.
Well...
Aggretsuko or Aggressive Retsuko is an anime franchise created in 2016 that was a series of shorts telling the day-to-day life of the lovable mascot Retsuko, and fast forward to April of 2018, Netflix released an original show based on the franchise. Retsuko is a hard-working red panda who deals with the hardships of working the office life as she's constantly having annoying co-workers and superiors breathing down her neck most hours of the day. No Michael Scott around here, I'm afraid. But despite all the frustrations of her job, she does have one thing going for her to keep her rage from exploding out at work, and that is singing death metal, baby. Yes, that's right, the lovable Retsuko screams her heart out with her trusty microphone she keeps tucked away in her purse at all times in case she quickly needs to calm herself down at work. But as the job gets harder and harder to manage, she's constantly having to come up with new plans to hopefully one day make it out of this horrible job and be one step closer to a better future. I will admit I was skeptical about watching this anime when I first heard of it, but after giving the first episode a shot, I was hooked. This anime isn't your stereotypical cute slice of life story. It's a very realistic telling of how unfair the workplace can treat their workers and the kind of realism that comes with having to deal with the BS hierarchy. Aggretsuko shows the audience an average worker stuck in an unhealthy work environment and how much that can take a toll on a person, while detailing the struggles of wanting to stand up for yourself, but also shows the possible consequences as a result, such as termination, which are very real themes for a cute looking anime that uses anthropomorphic characters, which is also a good way to talk about these kinds of adult subjects if Zootopia is any kind of example of that. However, it is very prominent from the get-go that this is not a kid's anime, as the comedy does use a lot more adult terms than an average kid show would. That being said though, the comedy in this anime is gold and really well timed that it was very rare for me to not be at least slightly amused at a joke. My favorite character had to be Feniko for her highly perceptive nature when it comes to snooping, and her monotone laughter really got me smiling whenever she was mocking her other coworkers. The charm of these jokes stem from how real they are. It uses the relatability to get the audience engaged in all the comedic moments. For example, a lot of people have that one coworker at work that is always going on about their kids, so this anime paints a character doing something similar in a bit of an exaggerated way, which reminds them of their own coworkers in real life and makes that connection of relatability, whether it be a good or bad one for that individual. Choosing to use a world where anthropomorphic characters are the norm was a good setup that led to some very memorable character designs, but Aggretsuko seemed to have a bit of an issue when it came to developing some of these characters. Haida is the stereotypical character who happens to have a long-going crush on the main character, which gives him some really good comedic moments to work with as he's constantly trying to get closer to Retsuko while being subtle about it, but take that fact out of the equation, we really don't get to know a whole lot about him. When we see him in his casual clothes outside the office, he is sporting a leather jacket and looks like the type to be into metal music, which would make it even more perfect if he were to end up with Retsuko, as they both would have an interest they are very passionate about, but we don't actually learn anything personal about him that would make this pairing make more sense to us. Although there was a lack of development for some of the cast, I do have to cut the anime a little slack in this area, as this is only the first season and is meant to really build up the world and test things out for the audience, which Aggretsuko only having 15-minute long episodes, I can see why they spent this season really fleshing out Retsuko compared to everyone else, but I feel like they could have snuck in just a few more details about other characters in some of the scenes to help get to know the characters outside of their comedic tropes. Even Mr. Tone, who is a jerk of a boss and is constantly the foil to our main character, had a golden moment of giving advice that really showed more to his character outside his trope, and I wish more characters got moments like that this season. That being said, the ending left us on somewhat of a cliffhanger moment that no matter which route they decide to go with, there's opportunity for a lot of character development to be shared that I'm hoping gets shown in a season 2 if the series gets renewed. Animation wise, the series is very fluid with its cutesy style and movement that you can definitely see that this is the same company that gave us Hello Kitty, which works for it quite well comedically when showing the lighthearted gags, and even more so when showing the grittier dramatic moments of the office life. One can also say the animation is a bit too simple for this day and age, but I would argue that this anime having a simpler style doesn't fault it at all, as the style of Aggretsuko really pops on screen for its color scheme and memorable designs, making the comedic moments the show is going for harder to forget. I adore the opening to this anime as it is very creative with how it has Retsuko move to the beat of the song, showcasing her love for metal while maintaining her cutesy style. The sound soundtrack in this anime is probably the most memorable to most people, as this anime likes to have Retsuko scream death metal as much as possible, so much that I've caught myself replaying a couple moments just because I like the track so much. Themes such as the dramatic business walk that plays when Gori and Washimi are at the office are so catchy that I would love to have the soundtrack for the show, but unfortunately at this time one is not available anywhere, so I haven't been able to combine any of the tracks with this video. Netflix provides both the subbed and dubbed version of this anime, and while there are some notable differences between the two, I'd say they are both equally good in my opinion. I thought the voices given to each of the characters were spot on with how they were trying to portray them, and the singing in both versions were fantastic, but the most important thing you could take away from this anime is the message behind it. Retsuko learns by the end of the season that you always gotta keep moving forward. You get stronger each day as you make it through all the bumps and roadblocks in your path. This is good advice to keep in mind for your everyday life, and I think this anime gets this point across in a fun yet relatable way for the audience. I give the first season of Aggretsuko an 8 out of 10. Definitely a solid starting point for a series, even for being on the short side. And I hope we get a season 2 that's even better than this one. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta go feed a death metal singing cat.